we're going to change everything with this new Mortal Kombat. We're changing everything from the presentation, the fighting mechanic, and obviously the story with adding the DC characters to it. So we really feel that this time, with the new generation of hardware, the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, that it's time to change everything about Mortal Kombat, kind of like we did with Deadly Alliance in 2002. The tone of the game is definitely going to be Mortal Kombat. It's still going to be an intense, brutal, you know, kind of a high energy experience, you know, and I think that you know, people will realize when they're playing this game, wow, this still, it feels like, you know, like a Mortal Kombat game. The main premise of the story is like these two universes, you know. In the Mortal Kombat universe, Batman doesn't exist. In the Batman universe, Sub-Zero doesn't exist. And so we really kind of came up with a story that kind of answered the question, what would happen if there was a merger of these two Earths, basically? And all of a sudden, Batman's walking around in Gotham City and he runs into Scorpion. You know, what would he do? What would happen? And the story evolves, explains why they're merging together, explains what has to be done to kind of get them back to normal. You know, you play from the Mortal Kombat side, and then you follow the adventures of Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and you go, you know, progressing through the different games, and you fight as Scorpion, fight as Sub-Zero, and then the same side for the DC side. You know, you fight as Batman for a while, you fight a bunch of rounds with him, the story's progressing, and then it kind of hands off to Superman. He takes over, and then he continues with the story and whatnot. So that's kind of the main progression of it. Well, the idea to cross Mortal Kombat with another universe has been around for, you know, probably at least 10 years. We've talked about crossing Mortal Kombat with other fighting games. You know, I'm a big fan of a bunch of fighting games, the Tekkens, the Street Fighters, the Virtua Fighters, and we pursued some of them, but then our marketing people approached us with the idea of doing a DC game, and so we thought about it and said, you know, we've always wanted to cross over and kind of get these new characters introduced to the mix, and so we decided to run with it. You know, when I was a kid, I clearly remember buying a comic book that was Superman versus Spider-Man. I thought it was just so cool to see these two characters, which you never saw together, fighting each other. I thought there was something, you know, magical about seeing these things happen. And so you know, when we put on the screen, when we put Sub-Zero and Batman and they were fighting each other, that was something that we knew there was something magical about that. And that's the kind of thing that we're really trying to tap in on. So we weren't intimidated by it. We were way more excited. We wanted to get the Batarang going. We wanted to get Superman's heat vision going and all that stuff. So it was way more excitement. My favorite feature in the game is probably the new fighting mechanics that we have. The new different kinds of combat. This close combat mode where you grab somebody and you're fighting kind of really up close, more of like a boxing game. And then there's what we call free fall combat, where if you throw somebody off a building, instead of just, you know, watching them fall and hit the ground and fighting, you fight while you're falling. So as you're falling, you're throwing punches and you're countering and doing all this stuff. So the action's completely different from the previous Mortal Kombat games, and that to me is what's the most exciting. Mortal Kombat has always been a one-on-one fighting game, so it's not like, you know, there's a whole bunch of players fighting at the same time. It's a one-on-one fighting game, but the fact that you have unlimited opponents online is, you know, opens the doors for, you know, endless possibilities. Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe is going to be on the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, and it's coming out in the fall of 2008.